What's happening, everybody? This is Scott with the Gaming Outsider. This week, Zack, CB, and I talk about games that have ridiculous premises. Lots of titles we talked about there. In news, there's a new Serious Sam game coming, but don't get too excited just yet. Also, we discuss the new partnership between EA and the NFL for Madden. And the new games we discuss include Maneater. Had a lot of fun talking about this one, as well as Red Wings Aces of the Sky on Switch. Thanks so much for stopping by. Let's hit it. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 296 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Tuesday, May 26th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and I'm joined, as always, by my fellow co-host. First off, Zack Parkerson.
Hello there.
And Chris Behrensmeyer.
What up, man?
How's it going, guys? How's your week going? Staying safe?
No, not at all.
Absolutely not. You know what? The residents of Kansas City are wearing masks now. Whenever they order, though, they pull it down to their chin, thus defeating the entire purpose.
Yeah, that sounds
Close,
about right.
But no cigar.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. There, pretty much everybody is wearing them in Rockford, at least when I'm out. I don't go out often, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis.
Wow.
Well,
free plug.
I will say the way they wear them is not exactly the best.
I saw one dude in AutoZone that didn't have one, and so he just walked in with his shirt up over his nose. Like that, that's gonna be okay? No, it's not gonna work, dude. But it does, it doesn't matter.
I just like when they wear them with where the nose is like poking out over them.
Yep.
Oh, that's the style here.
Is it really?
It feels like it.
There's a pretty funny meme that I can't describe on this podcast about that very thing that I recommend you checking it out because it's pretty funny. Liken it to your underwear. That's what I will say. Is how the meme went. If you don't know what I'm going with,
okay, yes.
Use your imagination. So, anyway, it's been an interesting week. I am down to my last week of school, which I know a lot of people are cracking up laughing because I've been, teaching from home, as it were. But it's going to be nice to not have to have lesson plans to do anymore, and I can actually kind of officially kick off summer in the next 8 days or so, which is very exciting for me. There's going to be a lot of Gaming Outsider, CB.
Yeah. Is your significant other actually going to allow you to enjoy it?
We'll see. As yet to be decided. We will find out for sure.
Okay. TBD.
I actually we got some things repaired around the house today, including a faucet, or not faucet, but a spigot to the outside has been rusted over, and I could not get a piece on it, so I couldn't attach a hose to it. And now that I got it repaired, I now have access to a power washer and can power wash the deck and stain the deck. That is one of my summer duties, so I will be doing that in the next this weekend probably. The first of many honey-do list items, I'm sure.
Yes. I know that yours is going to be very long and distinguished.
My deck?
Well,
Yes.
no, your honey-do list.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's gonna be very extensive for sure. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on with the show. I want to give a quick shout out to some of our listeners. We did our May game giveaway this month, and we actually gave away 3 prizes this week. Usually we do 1 game a month, which we gave away a copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake on PS4. And we also gave away, because of a listener donated, a $60 gift card and a $20 gift card. And an anonymous listener. I am not allowed to disclose who it is. This person wanted to do something nice for the community, so shout out to this person. It was very nice of them. But anyway, Devin Price from the community won the copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Scott Boers up in Green Bay. I actually met that dude in person. He's a really nice guy. He took a $60 PlayStation card, which I talked to him afterwards, and he picked up Final Fantasy VII Remake. And then Brian Regatti, who participated in the survey, took a $20 game card. So congrats to those guys. I don't know what we're going to do for next month yet. There's quite some interesting titles coming up. We got Mario RPG, not Mario RPG, Paper Mario, We got Ghost of Tsushima. It could be a hot month.
Yeah.
Right. The Last of Us Part 2. Which
Last
I
of Us
assume
Part 2,
everyone,
thank you.
everyone will probably just buy that, right?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll
Maybe.
see. It's gonna be a good month, and which is weird because isn't summer usually kind of a dry time of the year in terms of game releases, and that's 3 bangers. Granted, we didn't even know Paper Mario was happening until like a couple weeks ago, but it's gonna be a good month. I'm very excited to see all that happen. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump in with the week's news. All right, so here's what happened this week in the week of video game news. First off, Serious Sam 4 was announced, but it's not coming to console till 2021 thanks to Stadia exclusivity. We got new trailers for a game called Paradise Lost, which looks really interesting. Also, Keen One Girl Army on the Switch and PC. Pro wrestler Shad Gaspard, who also provided the mocap work for Kratos in God of War, passed away from drowning. It was a tragic story. Quantic Dreams announced that 3 of their games, which were previously exclusive to the Epic Game Store, are going to be available on Steam this coming June. Also, EA and the NFL are expected to extend their exclusivity agreement through 2025, possibly 2026. And finally, No Man's Sky is coming to Game Pass this June. And we also got the June Games with Gold announcements, Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, Coffee Talk, Destroy All Humans, and Sina Mora. So we've got quite a bit to talk about. Where do you guys want to start?
Well, I just want to say, let's give a shout out to Stadia that they're still trying, huh?
Yeah, apparently somebody's playing it. I am not one of those people, but somebody is.
I actually don't know a single person that owns it, so that just boggles my mind.
I don't either, actually. I mean,
Well,
I listen to people that have it.
We all assumed that people would give up on, or that Google would give up on the Stadia, but apparently they're still going.
We haven't hit the year mark yet.
Serious Sam just seems like a weird franchise to be exclusive for that. I mean, to be direct, I've never played a Serious Sam game. Do they have that much of a following that this is going to be a draw for people to pick up a Stadia for Serious Sam?
I don't think so. I own a couple of them. I've really never put a lot of time into them, so.
I mean, but it's something they could say is exclusive, right? Because they also have Lost Words, that indie game that I played at E3, where you play through a little girl's journal as it comes to life.
Mm-hmm.
Really cute indie game, but they locked that down for a year exclusive too, which is not a game anybody is going to buy a Stadia for, you know?
Right.
So I feel like they're just trying to snatch up what they can.
And I feel like the bigger developers that are making games that would be a system seller for Stadia are like, there's no way. There's just no way. They can't afford that risk. That's a huge risk.
Right. Unless Google is offering a insurmountable amount of money.
Which I can't imagine that's the case. I mean, they can afford it. They're Google.
Right.
But still.
And I still just want to know the sales number on the sales numbers on the Stadia. Like how good is this thing actually doing to warrant some of these?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm willing to bet it's not high numbers.
I mean, I would be surprised if they shipped 500,000 Stadias.
Yeah, I have to agree. That would be a big surprise. I don't know. I don't want to wish Google ill will. I just feel like I drank the Kool-Aid a little bit when they announced this thing back at first. I pre-ordered one. I thought I was just sold on the idea of being able to play this way, and I can't decide if they've delivered on that or not because I don't own one. But I just keep hearing so much negativity about it. It's a very expensive gamble for me to take, and I'm not willing to take that gamble right now when I got 3 other consoles that I'm perfectly happy with. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I would rather put it towards a gaming PC instead.
So, I was actually just given some information. Google Stadia has sold 110,000 units.
Wow. That's not very many.
No.
That would explain
not a lot of people playing Serious Sam 4.
Probably not. But that's why bigger developers they're not going to be willing to put it on something that's going to sell 100,000 copies of their game at most. That's if every Stadia owner bought their game.
In that same article, it mentioned the fact that the highest peak they've had for a game was Destiny 2 with 5,500 players.
That's not a lot.
No, that's not.
I mean, granted, Destiny 2 is an older game.
Still a lot of people that play it on Xbox. I know that for a fact.
Right.
So, I kind of want to talk about another article real quick. The EA and NFL deal.
Mm-hmm.
Can somebody please just give this license to somebody else?
Well, I don't know the legalities of it. That's not possible, right? That's what the exclusive rights means, right?
But they're expected to extend the contract. Every now and then, a good shakeup is kind of warranted.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to see some of these big sports titles move to somebody else for a change. I mean, EA does a good job. I want something new, something different.
I wish that EA would bring back the Blitz series. Just let us have your simulation game, and then let's have a Blitz game that you don't even put the players' names. Just put the teams and random put all the players' numbers 00. It does not matter.
Isn't the NFL the one shutting that down though? With so you don't glorify player injuries and stuff.
Maybe. I mean, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it quite like the 64 version where you're like doing pile drivers and stuff, but make it more arcadey. I've played Madden. I'm terrible at it. I fully admit that. I'm not a big sports game guy, but Blitz, I feel like anybody can pick up and at least be somewhat successful. And then there are skilled players that are on another level too. So you've got that. I would just rather sit down and play an arcadey sports game than a simulated one, but that's me personally. I think what a lot of people want is like the 2K series, because I think I've heard a lot of people talk highly about that, especially in the Dreamcast. Like those versions were just some of the best football games. But I also feel like people say the best version of games are ones that came out when they were at the perfect age.
Yeah, for me.
Well, 2K5 was really good and $30 cheaper than Madden.
Mm-hmm.
That is why it sucked. I mean, if you got 2K football back, it's not the same team of developers, They've all moved on.
Right. That's a good point.
So the 2K football you would get isn't the one you want anyway. I mean, I think it's just too financially beautiful for both EA and the NFL, this arrangement. It's not gonna go anywhere. But it does make you think. It makes you think about the Star Wars exclusivity. Do you think EA will pay up to renew that?
I think it depends on what they're paying for the NFL exclusivity. Honestly.
Okay, the NFL fee has gone up, you mean?
I would assume so, especially if they're doing it for that long. I don't remember how long it's been in between those re-ups, but that's not going to be cheap.
I don't know. There's a good chance that they could have gotten this for a steal.
Why?
Thank you, coronavirus. With the possibility that there may or may not be a season, they got to make some money somehow. Just lock up a deal and get a bunch of cash now, just in case.
I would think if they got it cheaply, I think it would just be more of like, it's such a guaranteed hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think anybody's under the illusion that the NFL will be hurting long term.
I also don't think that, if anything, I think the sales of Madden would go up if the season is delayed, because people they're going to crave that football. If they can't watch it on TV, they're going to want to see it somehow.
Well, it's understandable, but the NFL could get some on the back end. Like, oh, well, if you hit these sales numbers, we get this percentage.
That's true.
So
it'd be a gutsy move to ask for that much more, though. So maybe you're right.
No, what I'm saying is EA may have got it for far cheaper than they did the last time around.
Oh, I see. Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of the mind that I want Star Wars to be in somebody else's hands. I have nothing against EA. That's not fair. We just had Fallen Order. Pretty good game.
Right.
One of the last 3.
Well,
right.
yeah,
I am of two minds because they've canceled. They canceled Amy Hennig's Star Wars game, which is a freaking crime.
Mm-hmm.
And then they canceled an open world Star Wars game. They gave us 2 mediocre Battlefront games.
Mm-hmm.
But then they also gave me my favorite game ever. So I'm torn.
That's like 5 or 6 in the pro column, right?
It's got to be. It's got to balance it out, right?
Yeah.
And if they lose the exclusivity, does that mean, what happens to Fallen Order? Or do they just make the second game and then get out?
Well, remember, EA isn't making Fallen Order. You know
they
what I
own
mean? They're
Respawn
publishing.
Now,
Okay. Well, that's true. So that just
yeah,
puts a hole in my whole theory.
But they bought them at the tail end of Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
So that deal could already be inked.
What? I think. Well, they already said they're doing a sequel.
Well, I know, but Respawn may have already had that deal inked. There could be other factors that EA may not get to dip into.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That's such a weird one too, because like they use the Unreal Engine on that game, which EA does not like to do with their developers. Because they have to give Unreal a cut of every sale. I don't know, man. I just, I am worried about the potential third Fallen Order game.
I hear you. I hear you. Let's just play it by ear, man. Let's try to be positive. You're already looking towards Fallen Order 3. That cracks me up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes and no, right? Because there's only one way those characters end.
Right.
If you need Luke Skywalker to be your new hope and all.
It's true. Here's a question.
They only have one fate.
The inevitable sequel. Is it Star Wars Jedi : something else? Or is it Star Wars Jedi 2 : something else? Or is it Fallen Order 2? How is that? Is the series called Star Wars Jedi?
Star Wars Jedi.
Yeah, because that's where they annoyingly put the colon, is after Jedi.
So it's going to be Star Wars Jedi : and then whatever the new title is.
Right.
Okay.
Star Wars Jedi. Let's see. Star Wars Jedi : Rise of Vader.
I think he already rose.
I'm not trying to spoil things.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but the order is no longer important. So you don't want to talk about that. Yes. I would assume Maul makes an appearance. That would be my guess.
That would be delicious.
Let's just talk about this for the next hour.
Yeah.
I thought that story about Shad Gaspard was super, super sad. Especially if you read the details about it. He was swimming with his son, and they started having troubles, and he made sure that his son was safe, and they were unable to rescue Shad himself. And then they found his body like 3 days later. That's a sad story when it happens to anybody, obviously, but that's the guy that when you play God of War, that Kratos in the new series was modeled after him, and it's a bummer of a story. That
also leads to some very strange implications for the inevitable sequel for that game.
That's a good point too. I mean, you could probably mocap it with somebody else's body, and still
the facial
use
expressions.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
and lining up the voice.
It was. Sorry, so he did the mocap for like while you're playing and the combat and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The cutscenes were the actor, I can't remember his name right now. From Stargate SG-1.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. The voice was not Shad Gaspard.
Right.
So they can still do that.
So the face would be him. Man, I feel like a jerk. I can't remember his name.
Boy.
He's an actor. He's an actor of some renown.
Yes. When I first read it, I was like, because all the headlines I first read said that it was, pro wrestler, and I thought it was really sad, but I didn't even realize at first because I never knew the name of the guy that did the acting.
Are you sure they didn't use his face, because his picture looks an awful lot like Kratos?
I think like the character model was based on him, but like the facial expressions you're going to see during the cutscenes are going to be based on the actor who played him during the story cutscenes.
Yeah, because when they do the story cutscenes, and that's what they're going to probably do with the sequel. Like the character, like what he looked like and the muscularness was based off of Gaspard, but then they did the mocap with Christopher Judge. Is that who you were thinking of?
Yes, there it is.
And they did the mocap with him and then put the model over that, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Right. Video games are complicated to make.
They are.
Is what we're learning.
I can't imagine. And that's something else I was thinking about with all this COVID-19 business. You know, we still got plenty of games right now. We've got that inevitable lull coming up in several months, right? Like, there's nobody doing mocap. There's nobody doing scores. There's nobody doing voice acting. I guess you can do voice acting remotely.
You can still do scores. Like, you can write the score. It's actually recording it is a whole other monster.
Well, yeah, you can't really do that remotely, can you? Can't imagine that would be...
You could, just lining up the tracks for like 60 plus instruments could probably be a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually just heard a story on a podcast by Austin Wintory, the composer, where he was doing like he did an orchestral composition like over Zoom because they were trying it out to try to keep some game he's working on track. And he's like, they learned very quickly that it's good in theory.
Yeah.
It's awful and it's awful execution.
The only way I could imagine that being possible is if you recorded, like how you record a band album. Nobody's playing all at the same time. You record the drums first, and then the bass player listens to the drums in his headphones while he records the bass, and then you slowly layer on the guitars and vocals and stuff on top of that. But that's, 5, maybe 6 or more guys or girls. But an orchestra, imagine lining all that up and mastering that.
Right.
I think I would tear every hair out of my body.
Because when you see like videos of people recording, like back in the day when I would watch John Williams conducting the Boston Pops Orchestra, they're recording it in a studio with all the instruments in one room. Would it sound the same? Because acoustically, you're
right. It would probably sound too clean, right?
You'd think so,
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine listening to my brain just doesn't want to think about that.
Yeah. You've edited a podcast before with 3 or 4 tracks. You don't want to think about
no,
doing something like that.
No.
Is anybody going to try No Man's Sky now that it's coming to Game Pass?
I already played it.
No.
Refuse? Okay.
No. I mean, it's just at this point there are plenty of other things to play. I will say to anybody who's curious about trying out the games for gold, though, Coffee Talk was pretty good. That came out earlier this year. So if you want to live your barista dreams,
and Shantae Games,
yeah. I mean, that's a real series.
They're good Metroidvanias.
Sending More is a really good, tough shoot 'em up.
Yeah, you should be all over that one, CB. That is your kind of game. I think it's funny that they're doing Destroy All Humans from like the original Xbox with the sequel or the remaster coming in the next few months.
Oh, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Get some hype behind it.
Possibly.
Right, but the remake is the same game. Isn't it kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit?
They could throw some new things in the remake.
Right. It's just like on PlayStation, you're still good for sales there, but on the Xbox, like those original Xbox games look pretty crisp on Xbox One. They res them up.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you spend $40 on the remake?
I mean, you only have a 15-day window to download it.
No, I mean, you're definitely right. What was saying? It was a little...
Yeah, I guess you're hoping for the people that do download it and play it, be like, hey, this is really good, and they recommend to their friends who didn't download it and play it.
Maybe.
It's always a gamble, right? The marketing strategies are always a gamble. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. That's the news for the week. Just as a reminder, we are an independently funded podcast, which means we got to pay for our podcasting hosting services, website, all of that on our own, which is why we have a Patreon page where fans, we give them a place to contribute if they'd like, to help offset the costs of the production, as well as give back to the community. So if you'd like to help us out, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. We'd really appreciate it. But we're also going to do something nice for you, too. We've got some bonus content for our $3 per month subscriptions. And we've actually got some new content that posted this week. CB, let everybody know what's up new.
Well, I mean, most recently we still had our Final Fantasy VII episode and our Break the Seal on Super Metroid, but our newest episode is a drinking trivia game between me and Scott.
Yeah, you guys asked for R-rated content. Here's your R-rated content.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we don't get too foul or anything. But.
Was it just general video game trivia?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I was actually impressed. I was expecting some of the same old trivia questions from Spencer, but he did some research and came up with some pretty fun stuff. And not too difficult. But it was...
Yeah, I mean, there was some that were mildly difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Pencil me in for the next one so I can destroy you guys.
Well, I lost, so you can. Oh, I guess we probably shouldn't say that, but you can take on CB and see if you can dethrone him, because I am not welcome back on that one until I can let some other people take a shot at him.
Yeah, we're doing it Jeopardy style rules, where essentially the winner stays on until they're defeated.
Oh, that's fun. That's a lot of fun.
Well, kinda.
Do you make a wager at the end?
Yes.
Send me the link to this file. All right.
We will. We'll check it out. And there was many libations were had. I think we've called it going, gone. Because we had some beverages while we took place in this. It was pretty fun. We also got another new one too, though, CB.
The Retro Reminisce of Chrono Trigger.
Yes.
So many people have asked for it. It's finally here.
Yeah, sat down with Chad, one of his favorite games of all time, and we had a good conversation about that.
Yes, and then we still have our Break the Seal of Uncharted coming up, which I know Zack is going to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm prepping.
And David Newman from the community.
Yep. And Spencer is plowing through those games. I just talked to him last night about it. So
that's going to be a really interesting conversation to listen to, because there are various different opinions just among the three people that I've talked to independently about the quality of those games. So I'm
intrigued now.
Yeah, you're intrigued. I can't wait to hear the conversation for sure.
Should be a good one.
Anyway, if that stuff sounds good to you, again, consider helping us out over at patreon.com/thegocast. Every penny that we get goes towards the production of the show or towards giveaways that we do each month. So we really do appreciate it. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. So one thing we didn't talk about in news was that Pac-Man turned 40 this month. It was 40 years old. Man, I'm old. It's one of the most iconic video game characters of all time. But have you ever sat and thought about the premise behind Pac-Man? What is Pac-Man? He's a yellow dot that opens his mouth. Why is he eating all those pellets? Why does he care about getting to the next maze? And why are the ghosts so dead set on his demise? And most importantly, why does fruit bounce around the maze at random? Doesn't make any sense. So we thought this would be a good time to look at some of the most ridiculous premises in video games that just sound silly when you sit down and really think about it. So we're going to start with some from the community before diving into some of our own. Zach, why don't you take the first one there from Facebook?
Sure thing. Jordan Derringer High says, I played a game called Suicide a Guy a while back. You know how when you're asleep and you're about to die in your dream, but you wake up suddenly? That's the premise behind this game. He falls asleep and realizes that he's about to spill his beer, so he tries to kill himself in his dream in order to wake up and stop his beer from falling. To be honest, not a terrible puzzle game.
That's weird.
Yes. It's a very specific premise.
It is, and I feel like you would not get away with making that game today.
This feels like a Newgrounds game to me.
Like a what game?
Newgrounds? Nobody? Flash games? Alien Hominid started there.
Okay.
Oh,
Alien
okay.
Hominid,
Yep.
no.
Yeah, I can see this being in that wheelhouse. It is a very bizarre game. However, I do believe that it could still get made today.
How so?
I mean, just look at all the trash, like shovelware that gets made today.
Okay.
Like there's some pretty sketchy stuff that gets made.
You're not wrong. We've talked about some in the past on episodes.
Yes. Brandon Smith, the premise of Super Mario Brothers has always seemed pretty silly to me.
What's silly about Italian brothers going down a pipe into a magical mushroom kingdom and saving a beautiful princess from an angry turtle. What's weird about that?
And you just scratched the surface on the weirdness of that game. It's so funny to me how comfortable we are with, oh, you grab a flower and it lets you shoot fireballs out of your hands. Like, that's just...
I'm going to grab a leaf and turn into a flying raccoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Mm-hmm. Or this feather gives me a cape that allows me to fly. I mean, you could just keep going and going and going. There's just so many weird things. A star that makes you invincible. Why?
There's some pretty weird theories behind some of those, so...
Not suitable for a podcast, or
no, not really.
Okay.
For a PG-rated podcast, no.
All right. Well, we'll have to have a conversation off air about that. But
yes,
it is a very strange game. I mean, it's got turtles that throw boomerangs.
It's got turtles that throw hammers.
Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of goofy stuff. The frog suit, the Tanuki suit. I'm just going Super Mario 3 at this point.
The Super Boot.
Oh, Karibo's shoe?
Yep.
Oh, man, that was my favorite. I used to play that level over and over again just to play that. I just loved it. I wish they only used it one time in the entire game.
Or the fact that the plumbers can stay underwater forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's pillars of flame underwater that have no problem staying lit.
Flying log ships that shoot cannonballs.
Yeah. There's just so much that doesn't make any sense. But it worked. I think about it. You don't think twice about, you see a mushroom and you just think I'm gonna turn big. It's just so ingrained into us.
There's actually a reason behind the mushroom thing.
Okay.
There is a mushroom that grows that if you take it, it is a psychedelic mushroom that makes you think that you're growing larger.
Oh, really?
Yes. And it looks just like the red and white mushroom.
It makes you think that you're growing larger?
You have some like really weird psychedelic ideas, like growing larger.
That's interesting.
Same mushroom was used in Alice in Wonderland.
That's what I was expecting you to say. Was an Alice in Wonderland reference. Eat me, drink me, all that.
Yeah,
Man, I haven't seen that in a while.
The death mushroom that was used in later games.
The purple one?
Yeah, that's an actual mushroom.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe there are mushrooms that will kill you if you eat them.
Yeah, it's called a destroying angel.
Does it look like that? It's purple and has spots like that?
Some of the varieties do.
Huh.
It's actually a wide variety of mushrooms.
Thomas Bex over on Discord says Tetris, and GamerDad03 responded as well with, I'm going to go with something along the lines of Thomas Beck's pick and go with Columns or even Dr. Mario. Yeah, think about Tetris for a second. These blocks come down. We have to stop them from reaching the top. And if you make a perfect line, that line disappears. Where do they go? Why does it disappear?
Well, if you're playing two-player Tetris, you send it to your friend.
Yeah. Man, that Tengen version of Tetris is good.
Chantel says Burger Time and Dig Dug.
Burger Time is one I thought of as well. That's such a bizarre game.
I'm gonna throw pepper at eggs.
Yeah, you've got a sentient fried egg, a pickle, a jar of mustard, and a jar of ketchup that are chasing around. Is his name Peter Piper or Peter Pepper? Peter Pepper.
Peter Pepper.
Peter Pepper. And you're making hamburgers by eating by walking on them to destroy them and make them fall down to the lower level and make a burger at the bottom. But man, I loved that game when I was a kid.
Ridiculously large burgers.
That's a good point too. And I don't know if you ever played it on Atari 2600.
Yes.
But the ketchup and mustard bottles weren't even bottle shaped. They were just like a flag that would like kind of flap in the breeze as it walked across. Do you remember that? That was always funny to me. And Dig Dug. What is going on with Dig Dug?
Dig Dug was the first game this question made me think of.
Yeah.
It's just preposterous. You dig in the ground and you inflate monsters to death.
Inflate dragons. Kill them.
Yeah. The dragons and those little round dudes with the eyes. I don't know what they were called.
I don't remember them, but yeah, That is a very bizarre game.
Super bizarre. I had good call there. Thanks for that one, Chantel. I want to go back up to Gamer Dads for just a second because Dr. Mario. I know everybody loves Dr. Mario. I am terrible at Dr. Mario. I will never get good at it. CB, I think I watched him get an insane high score at an arcade up in Milwaukee. Was it Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Up Down.
Yeah, your hand. We were there with the EXP cast guys, weren't we?
Yeah.
And your hand was like
22,
permanently like clawed out because you had held that controller or that joystick for so long. But yeah, you throw pill. There. First off, there are viruses in a pill box or a pill jar.
Yes.
Right.
Well, in a medicine jar.
In a medicine jar.
It's like, what are they doing in the medicine jar in the first place?
And if they're in the medicine jar, they're contained. What's the problem? Why do we have to line up these multicolored pills to make them disappear? Can't we just, like, I don't know, throw some bleach in there and shake it up and just be done with it?
Even better, just put a stopper in the jar.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
But that wouldn't make for a fun game now, would it?
No, and as I get older, I'm just blown away by how popular that game is. I hear people talk about that game on podcasts often.
Oh, Dr. Mario?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was actually the one that I played. I don't prefer that version of the arcade.
Oh, really?
There's a sit-down red tent version that's much more fun to play.
I don't know. It just seems more difficult to me than Tetris. It's harder for me to wrap my head around. Like, you can't plan, or at least I can't plan as well as I can in Tetris. Like, I know the patterns I'm looking for and where to put shapes. You've seen me play when we remember playing Tetris Effect.
Oh yeah,
like that comes much more natural to me than Dr. Mario.
Well, I feel that there's the people that are like really good at Tetris, and then the people that are good at like columns and Dr. Mario.
Oh, okay. There's two different camps.
Yeah, it's like almost two different schools of thought and like how your brain works.
Sure. So let's go to our responses. Zach, you were first on the docket. I'm really curious to hear what titles you want to talk about their premises.
Well, I mean, right off the bat, I feel like both of you probably have this because I think is the definitive weird game, Katamari Damacy.
Yeah, that is on mine. Yep. For
yeah, it's
sure.
Gotta be. So we could just knock that one out of the way. You know, you play as a prince, the son of the king of the cosmos, who has to pick up trash with his little ball to make stars. It's definitely pretty weird.
It's a super weird game, but if you have not played it, seriously find a way to play it. I don't know how well the PS2 version holds up graphically.
I think they just did a remaster for the Switch.
Yeah. Katamari Damacy reroll.
Yeah.
Okay. Seriously, play it. It is strangely addicting to play. Like you start as a tiny ball rolling up. I think at the first level you're rolling up like thumbtacks and paper clips, and then it just gets bigger and bigger. And then you're rolling up like baseballs, and you find you're in a kid's bedroom. Baseballs, bats, pictures on the wall. Eventually the bed. Then you eventually get out of the house and you pick up the whole house, and then you're going to like it just gets bigger and bigger. It's so dumb. It's so much fun.
It is dumb. It's definitely dumb.
Yeah.
But fun.
It's a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I feel like another game that it will all have Maneater.
No, it's not on my list.
It's a pretty ridiculous. You're a shark with a vengeance. We'll talk about this more later. But you can have bone armor and electric teeth and stuff. It's pretty ridiculous. You're a shark who can flop around on land and murder people by the dozens.
Which is so much fun.
The hopping on land is quite hilarious.
Yes,
and we'll talk about that more. But it's funny to me that they don't even explain that to you. We just do it, and it works. The first time you do it and it works, you're like, "All right, I'm in with this game."
Yeah, I was gonna say, that was definitely the first thing I did was try to jump on land, see what happened.
Yeah, and it worked. I was like, "Score! This is great."
Right, and then Tokyo Jungle.
I've not played that one. Is that like a evolution game where you start as like a monkey or something and you work your way up?
Right, it's a post-apocalyptic game where you start playing as a Pomeranian. And you eat your way through the post-apocalyptic food chain to become bigger and stronger and more different animals. And then eventually you can unlock to play as humans, which is kind of funny because you're a human running around on all fours trying to hunt Pomeranians with their teeth.
What is this game called?
It's called Tokyo Jungle. It was a PS3 exclusive. And yeah, you can play as like an alligator, or you play as a giraffe who viciously murders deer and stuff.
I am finding this game immediately.
It's pretty insane. And then I think the weirdest game ever though is this PS2 game called Tulip. You guys heard of this?
No.
It's a PS2 game that came out in 2007. So that's already weird. It was a GameStop exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a game where you walk around town and you try to convince people to kiss you in public.
What?
That is the game.
Is it like premise. A dialogue trees or what?
You're like this little mailman character, and he writes like a love letter to a lady, and your love letter gets torn up. In order to get the pieces back, you have to like teach people that there's love or whatever, and you do this by convincing them to kiss you in public. And you do like little tasks for them. It's almost like an adventure game.
Wow.
But in 3D. So that's a weird game. It's because the director of the game, I had to look it up because it's so weird. But the director of the game visited America, and he was bewildered that everyone's kissing each other in public here, because they do not do that in Japan at all. So he thought it was cute and romantic, so he made a whole video game about how Japan should start kissing in public.
Wow.
So you just kiss people in public for 6 hours.
That's
okay.
All right. That's a good list.
It's a weird game. That's
a weird game. CB, can you top it?
I got a few. First off, I'm going to start with Typing of the Dead.
I considered that one as well.
That's
too.
A good one, yeah. Didn't even think about that one.
Defeating zombies by typing words.
Yeah.
I mean,
as you do.
Yeah. Need I say more?
The pen is mightier than the sword.
Oh, look at you.
Yes. Balloon fight.
I didn't think about that one. That's actually very similar to one that's on my list that I'm just going to say right now. Joust.
Yeah, but so slightly different premise. In Joust, I mean, you're flying around on ostriches.
Flying ostriches with and you're a knight with a lance, and you're trying to knock off the other knights so they turn into eggs, and you collect the eggs for points.
Well, I mean, balloon fight. Guys flying around with a single balloon, and you're like, I'm gonna pop your balloon. Weird to me. Just
why? Why are we fighting? Why can't we get along?
Shaq Fu, the original.
I mean, you could throw in Jordan's Chaos in the Windy City with that too, probably.
Yeah, but I mean the fact of Shaquille O'Neal going into an alternate dimension to fight a mummy.
Wow, man.
I thought that was pretty bizarre. Your personal favorite, Scott, plumbers don't wear ties.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, come on, you knew that.
Definitely a weird one.
You knew this was coming because the title of the game has nothing to do with the game. The game makes no sense, has no point.
Yeah, Zach, when you get up here next, we're gonna make you sit down and play that game.
It's bad. It's really bad. Sunset Overdrive.
Okay.
I mean, let's all drink energy drinks and watch everybody turn into monsters.
Well, that doesn't seem that far fetched.
Yeah, I always took that as like there was a company doing it on purpose to make.
It's a metaphor, but
yeah, right.
I get
what you're saying. It's like that game just so relishes the insanity that I don't really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I could go on and on just delving into like the entire NES library.
Oh yeah.
Because 90% of those games make zero sense. Bubble Bobble.
That's on my list. You are a sentient dinosaur, or you and your brother are sentient dinosaurs that are trying to rescue your girlfriends, and you do it by going through this world and blowing bubbles at creatures to trap them in bubbles, pop them and turn them into vegetables so that you can eat them. Fruits and vegetables. And giant popsicles rain from the sky.
That somehow reminds me of a game I forgot to mention.
What's that?
Mr. Mosquito.
Oh, Jesus. Pepsi Man.
Pepsi Man's definitely weird. But Mr. Mosquito, man, you gotta suck a woman's blood in the bathtub. You know, to survive, of course.
And you literally play as a mosquito going around trying to suck the blood out of people without getting swatted,
you fly,
right?
It's like, it's a fairly complex flight simulator. You just happen to be playing as a mosquito.
That's awesome. That's a good one. CB, do you have any more?
Like I said, I could go on and on and on and on.
Okay.
So,
well,
right. I was going to say, he's right with the NES games, because as narrative became more important, the weirdness kind of died. Because all those nonsense, like the picking up a leaf or whatever to turn into a flying raccoon, like if that happened in a modern game, they would explain it narratively.
Well, I don't know. They don't explain it in the Mario games still.
Well, yeah, but Mario's been grandfathered in. But they would be like if you think about Jak and Daxter, even you have like the speed boost power ups and stuff, but they all explain it with like, oh, it's eco from the Earth's core and it's channeling the energies. They would come up with some weird excuse for it.
I gotcha. So like if Mario didn't exist and came out today, there would be a narrative reason why the mushroom makes you grow bigger.
Yes, they would definitely. They would explain that he's getting high.
And it's funny you say that, because as I was putting together my list, I found it harder and harder to find games to add to my list that weren't from the NES or Atari 2600 era. Cool. Like everything was, and most of them were Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are weird games.
You can grab a lot of stuff from just this last generation. Lollipop Chainsaw.
But I mean, that's a game that you go in and it knows it's ridiculous. It's fully self-aware that this whole premise is stupid.
Well, the ridiculousness is still there. We're just made more aware of it before we buy it.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Do you know that? I don't know why this popped into my head, but speaking of weirdness, like Mr. Mosquito, there is a cheat code you could use to unlock a multiplayer mode where you're two sumo wrestlers on bicycles and you try to ram each other off the top of a mountain plateau.
You're making that up. There's no way
that is
real.
100% true.
Two sumo wrestlers on bicycles?
Yes, and you try to run each other off the top of the mountaintop. I mean, my brothers played the hell out of that. See, now that's weird.
That is weird. I will give you that. Mr. Mosquito sounds like a game that we need to play for games that aren't for us.
It's definitely on the list. Getting a copy is not easy.
Oh, really? It's that rare?
It's not that it's rare. It's just everybody... It's such a well-known game that nobody wants to let their copy go.
Gotcha.
Oh, it's kind of like what was that, Rule of Rose game that got big
oh my
years
God.
ago?
Rule of Rose is like a $300 game.
Yeah, because no one bought it, and now everyone holds on to it because it got big on YouTube, so everyone wants to hold on to it.
Yeah. A lot of those like PS2 era games that are just ridiculously good or ridiculously stupid held their value so well.
Right. And speaking of Mr. Mosquito, while we're still on it, I had to look it up just to make sure I'm right. It is a multiplayer mode, and to unlock it, you had to click it on the main menu. You had to click in the right thumbstick, and then while holding it pressed in, rotate the thumbstick 30 times.
30
to unlock.
You know how hard it would be to do that correctly as a kid?
Yeah, I remember we would spend minutes just trying to boot it up to play it.
And it's not like you could unlock it and then turn the game off and be able to just hop back in. You got to do it again the next time you started up the PS2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm not crazy. There are Reddit threads on this. I don't know how we found it as kids, but it exists.
That's crazy. How about Marble Madness? Why are these marbles able to move themselves through a maze?
Glover?
Huh?
Glover. It just made me think of Glover, Marble Madness.
Oh, Glover is where you play as a sentient glove. It's like a platformer,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why are you playing as a glove? Yeah, but Marble Madness is definitely a weird one. Didn't mean to step on your toes. It just made me think of another weird game.
That's awesome. I put this one. This one falls in the camp more under the they're fully self-aware of the ridiculousness. But 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. Have you either of you played that game?
Yes.
Yeah, man, it's Gears of War with rappers.
Oh man, that was such a fun, stupid campaign to go through. Like the shooting was competent. Like it was like we don't.
No.
I think this. You were talking about this last week when you were bringing up Uncharted. Like we don't have games like that anymore that are just fun, run and gun, mindless action games anymore.
Right.
And I miss that.
Yeah. There's so many good quotes from that game that I can't say on this podcast.
Oh, I do. There's it's hilarious. And like, what was the story? Like he's trying to get a skull or like some kind of crystal skull that was stolen from him.
He did a rap concert in the Middle East, and they couldn't afford to pay him, so he accepted a crystal skull as payment. But then, like a leader of Al Qaeda or whatever stole his skull, so he and the G Unit are traveling together to get it back from him.
And they're just insanely fantastic with their weapons,
right? Of course. Well, they
lobbing
are
grenades and coordinating attacks, and it's so dumb, but it's one of the most fun co-op games I played on the Xbox 360, which is a big deal.
Did you ever play his first game?
No. Bulletproof?
50 Cent Bulletproof? Oh, that one's funnier because it tries to take itself seriously, but is also just as ridiculous.
Yeah, this
game... Eminem plays an undercover cop, and he's like also dirty. It's absurd.
Yeah, this game knows it's ridiculous, and I love it. It's like Saints Row before. Well, it's not quite as crazy as Saints Row, but man, I'm really tempted to go pick up the remaster of that because I did not play through Saints Row 3, and I've always wanted to.
I thought you better remaster 50 Cent.
Oh man,
if they did that,
if they remastered 50 Cent, I would buy that on day one.
Yeah, same here.
There's 3 of them, isn't there? Because there's Bulletproof, Blood in the Sand, and then I thought there was like a third one.
I don't remember a third one because I remember after 50 Cent Blood in the Sand, I wanted another one and I was disappointed that there wasn't another one.
Well, I don't know if a lot of people agreed with your assessment.
I don't know. Going back to the NES era, Zombie Nation is a game that CB introduced me to. I did not even know the game existed.
I forgot about that one.
And are you familiar with Zombie Nation, Zach?
No.
I'm going to read you the premise of Zombie Nation. This is the actual premise of the story. The year is 1999. An alien meteor named Dark Seed, dark is spelled with a C. An alien meteor named Dark Seed crashes in Nevada, rapidly turning all American people into zombies. You are the world's only hope. A disembodied ghost head of a samurai named Namakubi. You must float through American cities, destroying buildings with eyeballs and vomit, while catching hostages falling from the wreckage. And that is not made up. I've played the game. That's exactly what you do. And it's really fun to throw a controller in somebody's hands and say, hey, want to play Zombie Nation? And then just watch them go to work. Because, well, what am I doing? Am I the bad guy?
Wow, okay, That's a weird one.
It's weird because you look like the villain, but you're rescuing people falling from buildings as you're destroying them. It doesn't make any sense. I'm surprised you didn't get that one. I thought, CB, that you were going to pull that one off of my list.
Oh, well, like I said, I could pull 90% of the NES library and just be like, and look at this game. Mm-hmm. It's Wally Bear and the No Gang.
I don't even know what that is. Wally Bear?
Yep, Wally Bear and the No Gang. It's an anti-drug game. You play as Wally Bear going around like, say no to drugs, kids, but you skateboard around.
So that makes it cool. I also added Catherine to my list. If you've not played that game, that's a messed up game. It's half narrative and half puzzle game. You play as this dude that has cheated on his girlfriend and is dealing with the guilt behind it, and does so by navigating these puzzles up a wall. while something chases him from the bottom in his nightmares.
Oh, the baby.
The baby one weirded me out so much. Have you played it, Zach?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I guarantee you he's played it.
I don't know why I love that game.
In fact, I used to sleep with the Catherine pillowcase on.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, she's attractive. I went with C. Catherine for the record.
You what's that?
I went with C. Catherine, the blonde.
I don't remember. I think I played it through twice, actually.
There's K. Well, they're both Catherine, but one's spelled the K, one's spelled the C.
Right.
So K Catherine is your wife, and the C. Catherine is your hussy.
And doesn't the new one have a third character that they introduce as well?
Yes.
I've been really tempted to go pick that up again. I just don't want to pay, I don't know, $40 for a game I've already played just to see if I'll like it still. Because, man, that was an interesting game. Let me tell you.
That game gave me anxiety.
Oh, totally. Yes. And plus, like that was a game that really ramped up its difficulty well. Like the puzzle started out really easy, and then the more you played, it got complex. But like when you finish that game and watch yourself play, like holy cow, I'm doing this and this. Like you pick up, it leads you along in an interesting way. Man, I like Catherine a lot.
Actually, I just had another one hit me from the Switch. Panty Party.
Are you?
They never explain anything in that game.
Nothing is explained at all. It is a 3D shooter. Not making it up. It's a 3D shooter, third person
shooter,
where you play as a set of panties, and you run around on a 3D map, firing at other sets of panties. And I'm not making any of that up. There's like customizations for what your panties look like.
Yeah, that's cute. You got your like frilly and lacy panties.
Oh yeah, it's. But that one's
just like.
That one just like embraces its weirdness without any explanation. By the way, it plays terribly. It is.
No,
awful.
you just suck at it.
No, that game is awful. Oh, it's terrible.
You know what might be the weirdest premise for a video game? Custer's Revenge.
We're not gonna go there, but
nope. Well, I mean, if we're gonna go down that route, then you can say like the entire Senran series.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh sure. I thought you were gonna go with a very NC-17 rated Japanese game.
Nope. We will not mention that on this podcast.
Right. But you can Google Custer's Revenge if you don't know.
My very last one is one that I don't know if it'll be controversial. I still think it's a very goofy premise as much as I love this series. But have you ever sat and thought about Mega Man? In what universe do you destroy a robot and acquire its power? Like why how do you you kill something and then randomly its power drops from the ceiling? That's very weird. Right?
Yeah. Was Mega Man built for that purpose, maybe?
He was built for that. He was built for that purpose.
He was built to thwart Dr. Wily, for sure.
Right. And all the Robot Masters, I always liked the Robot Masters because they were, well, at least at the beginning, they were practical. Or I'd be like, Woodman, he was a robot made for logging.
Yeah, but his power was to have leaf spinning around him.
I didn't say it was perfect.
That was the leaf shield, functional. I mean, I think in the original, I could see that maybe Fireman, could be used as a torch or whatever.
A welder or whatever.
Yeah, Gutsman could carry things. I get, I can't remember the character that did Gutsman. No, I already said Gutsman. Who was the one that threw bombs?
Man.
Bomb Man.
It was Bomb Man, wasn't it? Oh
yeah.
My God. It's been a long time since I played the original. But I guess there could be something could be said about maybe Dr. Light designed them for that to happen. Because he designed the robots with Wily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Dr.
Wily took
Wily.
them. I don't know. Plus, the fact that there's 11 Mega Man games and nobody ever learns that Dr. Wily is never up to anything good. Oh, now he's our buddy in Mega Man 3. And now we're working together, and they just keep believing him. I don't know.
What about Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, and Disney? We're gonna make an RPG out of it.
All right.
Let's just say Final Fantasy.
Well, there's a lot of things that don't make sense in there, yeah.
Those are classic fantasy legends. What doesn't make sense about Final Fantasy?
All of it?
Well, I made a phoenix down. It's a phoenix feather. Brings you back to life. That makes sense.
I'm going to sit here and stuff these magical orbs into things, and it'll give me superpowers.
Yeah. Well, now we're being reductive.
I mean, you could go down a whole comic book rabbit hole if you really want to go that route, but we're not going to do that on this podcast.
Yeah.
No, it'd be dangerous.
Anyway, that was a fun topic. Next week, it's going to be the first episode of the month, so we're going to go back to community questions, but we're going to be doing it with a little bit of a twist because you guys can call and leave us a voice message that we will do our best to play on the show next week when we answer these questions. So I'll post this in the Facebook group and on Twitter and all that good stuff. And please don't. It takes us work to do this, to go through and listen to them and filter them out. So please don't just spam us to be funny. But if you'd like to leave us a voicemail message, you can do so. The phone number is area code 347-746-2278. I'll say it one more time. It is area code 347-746-2278. But if you'd like an easier way to remember that, and this is why we had that weird number, just remember 3477 GoCast. 3477 GoCast. You guys like that? Yeah. Took me a while to find it.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
That's well done, man. I didn't know this was a thing. That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, drop us a line. Give us your questions for the week, and we'll do our best to answer them. And you might hear your voice on the show next week. So stay tuned for that. Real quick, got us some new Facebook members to say hello to: Chance Schmidt, Joshua Simon, Shane Boyd, and Jacob Rigo. Welcome to the Facebook group. If you'd like to join that community, head over to facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. Also, we have a Discord community. You can find the link for that in the show notes. Want to say hello to Chris Thomas and also Awesome Zombie 64. And guess what, guys? We do have an iTunes review again this week. This one comes from someone by the name of Gerard45. He says, great people with a variety of opinions. And his quote goes on to say, I listened to the show a few years back with the old crew after they fell off and split up. Came back a few months ago, and it's good to be back. The community is great, and I look forward to the podcast every week. Thanks for helping me stay sane in this instance world. I think he meant to say distance world. Social distance.
I think he's meant to say insane. Say sane.
I was about to say
insane world. Okay. Anyway, Jera45, thank you so much. Really appreciate the comment, and glad to have you back. Shoot us a voice message so we can hear your question. Also, one more thing I want to plug: our website, thegamingoutsider.com. That's where we house all of our episodes and any written reviews that we do. And speaking of, you can check out my written review of Red Wings, Aces of the Sky over there, and also Chad's review of Biped, which are both available for you to read. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the games we've actually been playing. Zach, what's new in the horizon?
Big week, actually.
Yeah?
If you're excited about some Minecraft, you can do a Diablo style with Minecraft Dungeons. It's going to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC May 26th. Always weirds me out to see an Xbox Game Studio game coming everywhere.
Yeah, that is weird. And also, it's on Game Pass, so you can try it out. You can try it out without any extra coinage if you have that subscription.
It'll only waste your time. Potentially.
I've heard good things, man.
I'm sure it's great. I like Minecraft's beloved. Mortal Kombat 11 gets its expansion pack with Aftermath on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, and Google Stadia. That'll be May 26th as well. Speaking of expansion packs, The Elder Scrolls Online gets Greymore for PC and Mac, May 26th. Phantasy Star Online 2 came out earlier this year for Xbox One, but it's coming to PC in English, May 27th. Speaking of Shantae, we got a new one, Shantae and the Seven Sirens, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, May 28th. And then you got Port City on the Nintendo Switch, all coming on May 29th. BioShock the Collection, Borderlands Legendary Collection, XCOM 2 Collection, and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition.
Nice. I'm so happy that BioShock and Borderlands are coming to Switch. I mean, I'm not going to play them there because I own them already, but more people that play BioShock, I'm all about it.
So my favorite thing on this list, I think, is going to be XCOM 2 because it seems perfect on the Switch.
I'm so terrible at those games.
Oh yeah, I'm not great, but I still like them anyway. And just like turn-based tactics games, I feel like always worked best portably.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I'm going to instead go and play the Mario Rabbids one on Switch instead, just because that's probably more my speed, I have to assume. Right. But yeah, I know you scoffed at the beginning, but I'm actually looking forward to playing Minecraft Dungeons.
Oh, well, I didn't mean it dickishly. It just came off that way, and then I rolled with it.
Right.
No, I'm sure there is a huge audience of people that are going to go gaga for Minecraft Dungeons. I am not that audience, and that's okay.
I'm going to play it tomorrow.
I think I am as well.
There's something that happened in my adult life. Dungeon loot games just don't do it for me as an adult, man.
Oh. That why it's been so hard to get you to play Borderlands?
No, I feel like we just never talk about it.
I know, it's true.
But you always blame me every week on this show.
I'm not blaming you. I'm going to set a time this week and we're going to play.
Uh-oh.
I also bought Borderlands, the Borderlands 1, like remastered. It was on sale for $10 on Amazon, so I now have that. And according to you, that's a superior Borderlands experience. So
right, according to me, it's the best Borderlands experience.
Mm-hmm.
I may actually dive into Mortal Kombat 11 just for this. RoboCop, man.
Right, I didn't realize until I was making this list that it's a full-on, like, there's additional story cutscenes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it's an actual expansion pack.
Nate and I spoke at length about this over the fact that this could actually fix a lot of the story issues with Mortal Kombat, because it's gotten very, very convoluted.
Right. Well, I mean, I feel like it was convoluted back in the Armageddon days as well.
Yeah, but with the introduction of some new characters, they've kind of ruined the storyline, and hopefully this is going to bring it back to center.
Well, if anybody can fix it, it's RoboCop.
Yeah, it's RoboCop, man. RoboCop and the Terminator.
That is crazy. Cool. That the RoboCop can fight the Terminator. And
that's going to be like the number one battle. Is like people are going to be like, who's going to be RoboCop, who's going to be Terminator? But those are the only two you can pick from.
Didn't they actually get Arnold back for that as well?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I know he's back for the Predator game.
Yeah, I know his likeness has been used, and I can't remember if it's his voice or not.
I know he voiced Dutch for the Predator video game. For those that care.
I'm really excited, though, for RoboCop.
Yeah, that's cool. NetherRealm has a good history of guest characters.
All right, well, let's go ahead. I've been chomping at the bit to talk about this game with you guys.
Literally.
Get it? Because you're a shark.
Maneater, which I know CB and I are playing on Xbox. Zach, I assume you're playing on PS4?
That is a correct assumption.
Yeah, so who wants to start? And for those that... I mean, I think everyone gets an idea of what this game is, but to talk about how this game works mechanically, who wants to start or say?
You're a shark. Right? Congrats, that's the premise.
Well, they use the ridiculous marketing hashtag SharkPG.
Yes.
That's pretty accurate.
Which is kind of goofy, but it's totally what it is. I mean, I think the way that CB and I have been talking about it via text and whatnot, this is Assassin's Creed. If Ezio was a shark. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah, I guess that the open world structure is pretty similar to the old Assassin's Creed, and it is very much a checkmark game.
Yep.
Or checkbox game.
Which, appeals to me very much, as you know, but the story is like an Ahab story from the perspective of the shark, which I think is hilarious. Because you are a baby shark that's mother has just been killed.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, and everybody listening to this podcast is mad at us now.
I know, and I was trying hard not to make that joke, and I wasn't even thinking about it.
As soon as the game started, you played as the shark, and like in the bottom right corner it says "baby." I was like, "Oh no!" It was immediately in my head.
Actually, you start as the mama.
Well, yes, you're correct. I didn't want to.
for the training. Yeah.
It's just your Metroid moment. You play as a big shark before you become a little shark.
So Scaly Pete is this Ahab-like character, but he's very like New Orleans, Louisiana drawl to him.
He's Cajun.
He's Cajun, yeah. And he kills your mother and discovers that the baby is in there. Baby bites off his hand, jumps in the water, and now you are this. I'm trying to use a word other than baby. You are a prepubescent,
a young shark.
A young shark. There we go. And then you work your way up from there. You go around eating small critters in the water, and you eventually gather loot like proteins and some kind of crystals and fats, and you use those to evolve, and your shark gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you eventually just get ridiculous evolutions that I had no idea this game was going to go that far with its evolutions, and I think that's like one of my favorite parts of this.
Oh, I made sure to keep quiet about the end game content for this for you, Scott, just because I knew like once you and Zack got there, you'd be like, what the hell is going on?
Because it takes a while for those mutations or evolutions to happen. You're just getting bone stuff. Okay, I get bigger bones and bigger fins and tails and stuff, and but then you start getting the bio ones, and it's awesome. It's so much fun.
Have you finished this game yet, Zack?
No, I am the Lone Ranger here who has not finished it.
Okay,
no, I have not finished it.
Oh, I assumed you had.
We'll
close.
Talk about that in a minute.
This game is so ridiculous. It makes fun of itself. It makes fun of so many genres because as you do like the checkmark stuff, you find little funny nods to other things. I think like the first one I mentioned to Scott was finding the 3 seashells from Demolition Man.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And the voiceover, man, the guy's name is escaping me, but he's Chris
Parnell.
Chris Parnell. He's in Bob's Burgers, which I just learned tonight. He plays a character on that show. He was on Anchorman. But his narration, Rock? 30 Rock. I just love listening to that dude talk because he sounds like a tour guide. Like everything he says is just so matter of fact and tongue in cheek comedy. It's great. It's so much fun.
Great sense of humor.
Yes, I agree. But the first time you realize that you can actually flop your shark up onto land and just devour people on the beach or running around in their condos or whatever, it's strangely satisfying. Like the gameplay is very simplistic in that regard. You don't do much but hop around and press the trigger button to chomp on them. But it's fun. It's really good. Just
the animation of the shark actually flopping and jumping is very comical.
Yes.
What makes it funny to me is that, they went through the trouble of having you play as a bull shark. That way they can have fresh and saltwater environments. Mm-hmm. And like all the ecosystems are creatures that exist within there, like, gators in the swamp and stuff. Mm-hmm. So they went through some trouble to have actual science. But then you just flop around on land and you have electric teeth. Like it's such a goofy dichotomy.
Yeah, it's great. I will say I do have somewhat of a love-hate relationship with this game though. The controls, I wish that you controlled the shark differently. I think a lot of it is that I love flight combat games so much, and I wanted this to control like a flight combat or like a flight sim. And instead, you're pushing forward to push forward all the time and navigating in 3D environment when you're pushing forward on the left stick takes a while to get used to. Do you agree, CB?
So you wanted to be like you wanted there to be like a go button for the shark?
Yeah, like a how the left trigger is the acceleration button? I wanted left trigger to be my gas pedal. I want it to be like gas. I don't know how else to describe it.
I have some issue with the controls for this game because you have 3 different levels that this game operates on. You have everything under the water, everything at sea level, and then when you breach and you're actually in the air, because you can actually make your shark fly for a little bit.
It's got like a triple jump.
Well, there's the triple jump. Then if you hit the bite trigger, you can make it like a fourth jump even. So you can reach comically hilarious heights.
I did not know this was a level up awaiting me.
Oh, it's each time that you level up, you actually gain an additional like jump.
Oh, man, I've been playing wrong.
So as like when you hit Elder, it's like you can jump like 4 times and then hit the bite, so it's like a 5th.
Yeah.
I guess I never thought to try to double jump as a shark. My mistake.
Oh, that's going to open up a whole new world for you, man, next time you fire this game up, because that's where it gets really fun. That actually, it turns into a Metroidvania at some point, because there are certain areas you can't access until you can jump over them to get to new areas. There are a lot of collectibles that you have to jump over this gate and then flop on the beach and work your way to this tiny little pool in there to find a grate underneath it. It's super silly.
Oh, the golf course level.
That was one of my favorite collectibles there too, by the way. It was like buried at the bottom was a bunch of hockey sticks. That was a fun nod. There's so many fun pop culture references. I didn't realize, Zach, you were playing this game, so I felt bad if I'd spoiled one for you, but that's a reference you don't see too often.
There are so many of them that I wasn't worried.
Right.
I mean, it just makes me want to hunt down the Arrested Development Easter egg. That's all.
That's how it was with when CB told me about the seashells. I just kept waiting. Maybe this will be the seashell one. I want to see the seashells. And,
right. Yeah. It's not every day you see an Arrested Development reference.
Yeah. It was great. So my biggest gripe with this game, which I was literally on the phone with CB today in frustration. I am at the 95% completion mark of this game. And I have cleared roughly, 75% of all the collectibles. But there are no collectibles visible to me at this point. You've got like this sonar ability where you can kind of blast out and make stuff appear.
As sharks do, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So unlike CB, I did not use it that often. CB just like wherever he went, he was just constantly hitting that sonar button, hoping that those question marks would pop up, and then he would just go clean them up later, which is what I should have done. I did it occasionally, but not that much. I don't know if I've hit a glitch in the game. I don't know if I've done something wrong, but I have one like main mission left to do to get that 100% of the story, and the mission will not pop up for me on my map.
He broke the game.
It says, I think I broke the game. Not only that, CB has beat the game, mind you. Keep that in mind. So what I'm about to tell you, he has not seen in this game. In the bottom left-hand corner of my map, it's I cannot remember the name of that area. I went to visit it, and on the map, the entire thing is covered in green. And it says, this area is poisoned. If you go into this area, you have 2 of these stats that go down, and you have 2 of these stats that go up. It was never explained. All it says is, Scaly Pete is poisoned this area of the map.
Yep. Never happened for me.
And that never happened for CB, and he's beat the game.
Not
So I don't know what's going on, what I did to break the game.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know what you did, because not only did I beat the game, I 100%ed this game. I am beyond done with this game. And I never came across this, and I believe we even Googled it, and no one else has come across this.
Well, I haven't found anybody. I Googled like Maneater, poison water, and I could not find a single thing about it.
So you gotta,
which is very weird.
You gotta find a way to reach out to the publisher.
I mean, I want to beat the game. I want to finish the game, but I don't know how.
Which I made the comment that there's the Scott Clark curse now.
Yeah, after Hellblade.
Yeah, because Hellblade, he got right to the end and the game glitched and he couldn't finish.
I still haven't finished Hellblade. Like I was at the very end of the game, and it glitched out on me. That was a known glitch though, and there's no workaround.
So yeah,
wow,
poor Scott.
So anyway, you guys recommend Maneater?
I recommend it highly. However, I would wait a little bit because I have a feeling this is going to be a $20 to $25 game quickly.
I think it's $40, right? I feel like you get your money's worth.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's, and, as I was telling Scott, I felt almost morally obligated to buy this game because it's a mid-tier single player, not an infinite skill tree video game. That was a new idea. So I was like, well, I had no choice. I always complain about the lack of these games in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to buy it.
Oh.
I will say for me, I think the combat is repetitive, at least like where I'm at.
Oh yeah, it just keeps going. You do the same thing over and over and over again.
And I think the thrash feels bad.
Oh, I rarely use the thrash.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yep, I rarely use the thrash, and the fact that you can actually pick things up and throw them, I don't even use it. I think I use it twice in the whole game.
That felt useless to me. It looks cool when you do it, but it serves no real purpose. And it
does later.
For one mission.
For one mission, yeah.
And did like combat against like multiple enemies feel chaotic to you guys?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because I almost feel like I'm doing something wrong with that, like the right stick thing to snap back to the last enemy that attacked you or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is borderline useless.
Yes.
It's a lock-on system that as soon as you lock on, it's just done locking on.
Yeah, it doesn't stay locked on. I thought it was gonna be like Dark Souls or
right.
like you click the stick and you stay locked on.
Hold it.
Yeah, I don't understand. That's a weird design decision.
I discovered a very interesting way to defeat multiple boats in this game.
Okay, lay it on me.
You have to have the full bioelectric set.
Okay.
Which I do.
So you can actually round up 5, 6 boats and just constantly hit the dash button and ram them over and over. People will fall off, eat them. There's an organ that you can get to replenish your health faster.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically dash, eat, dash, eat, dash, eat. You can never die. So essentially, I did the bounty hunters from level 5 to 10 in one sitting.
I did that, but that was because I did not understand that's how the bounty missions were working.
Oh, I
did the very first bounty that they introduced you to, no problem, and I never did one again until I realized that, I just kept running away. I treated it like an Assassin's Creed game where I have a bounty on me and I just need to go hide until they're gone. That's what I did. And then I realized, oh no, you have to destroy the boats to get your infamy level up. And then once your infamy level is up, then it brings out one of those bounties, which is where it feels like Assassin's Creed.
Some of those characters are hilarious, by the way.
Yes. So I did about 2 through 10 in one sitting, but it took a little bit longer than it took for you, probably.
Yeah. I actually want to see more from this series.
More as a shark?
No. I feel that they could do more with this series, but as other animals. Like Maneater, but as a bear. Or a wolf.
Oh, wolf would be good.
Because they've laid the groundwork. It's selling well for a $40 title. Please make more of these games, because this game was stupid fun.
I think stupid fun is a great way to describe that game. Yeah. I recommend it as well. Just know, and I know you're much earlier, you're not as far as I am, and you're already feeling repetitive. It doesn't change. The missions are go to this school and eat 10 hammerheads. Go to this beach and eat 15 humans.
Right.
You're doing the same thing over and over again.
It's been a really good game to play while listening to podcasts, though.
Yes. That's a great listen to podcast game. Which, and again, if you like collectathons like I do, like you like finding a point on the map and then going and getting it, and that feels satisfying to you, it's a checklist game or checkbox game, like Zach mentioned earlier. But my love-hate for that is great because not everything is on the map. You have to, or unless there's something I'm missing, you have to just go around and hit that sonar thing and wait for stuff to pop up, and that is not fun for me. Put it on the map. I'll go there and get it.
When you hit it on sonar, does it add it to your map permanently?
Yes, it shows up as a question mark.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It won't tell you what it is until you get a certain distance from it. But it will stay there. Despite
not being as far as you guys and finding the combat repetitive, I still definitely recommend it. It is a lot of fun, and it is it's not like a lot of other games I've played. You don't play as sharks very often. Not since Jaws Unleashed on the PS2 and Xbox. Do I remember playing as a shark?
Hungry Shark World, man.
Yes, there is that. You're correct. I apologize.
But as a human eating, yes,
right.
It's so much fun. Speaking of fun, I see you've been playing a new Switch game, Scott.
I have. The game is called Red Wings Aces of the Sky, which I was all over because I'm a massive flight combat game. Ace Combat. I loved every one of those games. They're great, so I couldn't wait to jump into this one for sure.
Okay, tell me about it. Make me want to buy this game.
Okay. Do you like World War I?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Red Baron?
That's a dangerous thing to say. You like World War I?
I like history. I like learning about things.
Okay.
All right. Well, this takes place in that era, and depending on what you get two factions you can pick from. One where you were hunting the Red Baron, or one where you were siding with the Red Baron, which is interesting. I don't think I've ever.
Did you side with the Red Baron?
No. The thing is they don't tell you that. They just say pick a faction. So my natural inclination is to go for the one that's not highlighted when I first start up, because I just assume everyone's going to do the first one. So I do the opposite one, and it turns out I am hunting down the Red Baron, as it were. But This is. I always feel like the Ace Combat games are not simulation. They're like a mix between arcade and simulation. I feel like Red Wings Ace of the Sky is somewhere below that in terms of. Below is not the right word. I'm not talking about quality. I'm talking about the style of gameplay. It leans more towards arcade, but it's not Star Fox, if that makes sense. It falls somewhere in between there. But all of the planes are World War II, like biplanes. You've got your barrel roll. You've got your what do you call it when you're going forward and you turn around, do like a quick turn back, and all that works great. But it's very weird for me to be playing a flight combat game where there are no missiles. I never realized how reliant on missiles I was in flight combat games till I didn't have any, because this is straight up machine guns, and they have a cooldown. The nice thing with the cooldown, though, is how like if guns overheat, then they jam and they don't work for a minute. You got to wait for it. Here, as long as you release it before the cooldown hits, your guns, that meter goes all the way up to the top instantly as soon as you release it. So releasing it just for a second lets you bring it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that is super handy. The game starts out really strong. You're just starting and you're taking out planes. It feels good to shoot them down. You've got this really cool ability where when a plane is nearing explosion, it's got like an insta-kill, and your pilot actually pulls out a pistol and he actually aims in the direction of where the plane is and shoots it out of the sky, and it does this little cinematic. That's kind of cool. Not super like beneficial. You're about to take him down anyway, but it's still fun to watch. And then that's about where the fun kind of stops for me. The game is the same thing, but it just gets very, very repetitive. You've got those sortie missions where you're taking down planes or defending your own air balloons, or you're taking down air balloons. Then there are these bombing missions where it's like an overhead view and you're in a bomber, but it feels like a bonus level in a game instead of like an actual mission. It's very, very short, and it doesn't make any sense. You're like dodging shrapnel while also bombing, and it's hard to tell where you're supposed to bomb. And then they have the infamous fly through rings to collect fuel.
Oh, your favorite.
And there are full levels where you have to go through all these rings in order in a certain amount of time in order to make it through the level. And I was having Superman 64 flashbacks.
I was gonna say I'm hearing the Superman theme in my head right now.
Yeah, it was rough, but it's here's the thing: it's a very well designed game. The flight works exactly the way you want it to. I don't have any issues controlling my plane. It feels like it should. I just wanted more varied missions, and I feel and I feel like I may not be being fair to the game because I want modern combat with flight. I want, F-15s and FA-18s and all that kind of stuff, F-22s and all that. That's more my speed, I feel. But this is still a decent game. If you're looking for a game to scratch that flight combat itch, because we haven't had one in so long, it's a decent pickup for the price. It's only like $20.
Ooh.
But just know, it's got 50 missions, and they're all pretty much the same thing. They just kind of stack on the difficulty. Like all of a sudden, planes will have more armor, or they have like a shield around them, and you have to wear down the shield first. And if you stop firing after the shield is gone, they replenish their shield. And then there are these, big, massive balloons like Zeppelins, and they're harder to take down. And so they add the difficulty. It just never. It stops feeling satisfying about a third of the way through, and I feel like I'm just going through the motions. If that makes sense. So again, that is Red Wings: Aces of the Sky.
So do you recommend it?
Well, like I said, yes and no. I recommend it if you are looking to scratch the itch, but it's a $20 game. This isn't a $60 Ace Combat game. If you're not going to be okay without missiles, stay away. The story is there's a story there, but I stopped caring halfway through it, and I just skipping the scenes. They're done in comic book fashion, and I just didn't care. But it's still fun to play.
Do you find out how he made his pizza at least?
Yes, there's a whole secret level that you fly through certain fuel rings in a certain amount of time, and then you go off into an alternate dimension. And he's got a little pizza oven.
Nice little frozen pizza action. All right.
And then he flings them at his enemies. No, I'm just kidding. But
it's a delicious frozen pizza, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. Anything else you guys been playing outside of the new stuff?
Forza Street.
The cell phone game?
Yep.
Really? How is it?
Wow, I forgot that it came out.
It's surprisingly not terrible. It's actually pretty addicting.
Okay.
Yeah. And for those of you who are achievement hunters, you can get Xbox achievements on it.
On your phone?
Yeah. I've gotten almost 500 achievements.
I think I just saw Scott go from 6 to midnight.
Yeah. It's very, very simple. Essentially you get a car, and it's not even racing, it's just timing.
Timing.
So you hold down a gas pedal, and it's a short little street course, and essentially there's 6 moves in each race. You have to time your takeoff. It'll give you a rev meter, and you yellow, green, and red. You got to keep it in the green to get extra boost. And then each time you come to a turn, there's the infamous yellow and red, in Forza. And so you have to brake and then accelerate on the proper sides of the turn, and that's all it is.
Just a straight time. That's actually kind of interesting for a racing game. You don't steer or anything?
Nope, not at all. You are just gas and accelerate, gas and brake. That's it.
Double click to install. Okay, I got it.
I've actually been playing it. I'm level 15 of 30.
Oh wow. You put quite a bit of time into
it. It has dailies, Scott. What can I say?
Sucker.
Yeah. It's actually been pretty entertaining because I think there's almost 100 cars in this that you can randomly get, because you'll get, for every race you win, there's a story, and you can unlock credits, and you use the credits to spin this wheel to possibly get more cars.
Is there microtransactions? It has to be.
There is most definitely microtransactions, and I have yet to spend $1 on this game. So
welcome to my world. Although I've spent $10 on my microtransaction game, so I can't talk.
Yeah, I have a feeling once I get closer to that 30 mark, I may throw them a couple bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, somebody took the time to make the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not going to get much more out of me from that, because I hate microtransactions. And
I hear you.
They definitely throw it at you, be like, oh, today for only $2 you can get all this.
Oh, trust me, I've mastered the skill of bypassing the microtransaction pop-ups on mine.
There is there is a story in this game. You're like some up and coming racer, and there's 4 billionaires that you have to impress to basically get them to invest in you as a legal street racer.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You sold me. I downloaded it, so I will give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by it being timing, and that I like timing games.
Yep. That's all it is. It is literally just a timing game.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to download it as well.
Really?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's a free game.
Okay.
I'm sorry you sold me, CV. Sorry.
I just never pegged you to be the Forza Street kind of guy.
CB would be the worst salesman ever. Yeah, I'll take 500 units. Really? Are you sure?
I'll start you off with 50.
Well, I mean, you've seen the movie The Founder, right?
Yes.
Well, he's like, yeah, we need 7 Vitamix mixers. Really? Like, are you sure? You better make it 8. Okay.
Yeah, nice even number.
Zach, what about you? What else have you been playing?
Oh man, so I've been continuing on my Uncharted tear since last week. I beat Uncharted 2. It still has one of the worst final bosses ever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still one of the best games ever. So that's a fun comparison. Then I rolled right into Uncharted 3. Played through that, and I had a slower first half than I remember, but that back half is insane.
The cruise ship?
Well, it like starts with a cruise ship, and then it doesn't stop.
That's what stands out to me as the most memorable from that game is the cruise ship.
The cruise ship's great, or the cargo plane. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like I don't know if you remember this, like a part where you're walking through the desert, and he's like having mirages and stuff. Where the game reads poetry to you while you're walking around the desert.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like T.S. Eliot poetry.
Nice.
It's like a little indie game they tucked in Uncharted 3. And then so I beat that as like a 5-6 hour game, and it's still my favorite Uncharted for sure. Just such a beautiful little game. And then I went in with as open a mind as possible into Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I have a checkered history with on this show.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know. The parts that I remember as being good are still pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm on chapter 10, which is like the open world section. But before that, you have like that party scene, like the auction with Sully and his brother. That part is still awesome. As is the Scotland area right after. It is still almost impossible for me to suspend my disbelief that Nathan Drake had a long lost brother that he never mentioned to his wife. Especially like there's nothing particularly like when you see the flashbacks, there's no reason he wouldn't tell Elena.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. It is really hard to stomach that he wouldn't have mentioned him.
Well, do you think that they ever had that in mind before they started writing Uncharted 4?
Well, I don't know if do you know what Amy Hennig's pitch for Uncharted 4 was?
No.
I discussed this. So she is the creator of Uncharted. She wrote and directed the first 3, and then we never know what happened, but we do know she got fired from Uncharted 4, and then the Last of Us dudes came in and rebooted it, basically. And they kept the idea of the brother, but in Amy Hennig's version, Nate's brother Sam was the villain, and he was played by a different actor than Troy Baker. And it was Nathan intentionally left him to die to save his own skin when they were younger.
Yeah, I like that better.
Which would much more cleanly explain why you wouldn't mention that to your wife.
Agreed.
And I think it works a lot better, especially like you learn throughout those first 3 games, especially having just replayed him. Nathan sucks. He's done a lot of shitty things in his past.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
And it doesn't feel impossible to believe that he would leave his brother to die to save himself.
Yeah.
Especially like 20 or whatever.
I agree.
That would have been cool, man. But that is not the version we got, so I'm playing the version we did get. And like I still think Sam's fun, and I have more affinity for him after that Lost Legacy game. Because he's in there and he's fun in there. but I don't know. I think it plays the best of any of the games. I will admit. So there's the
Good
running
deal.
and jumping, but I can't wait
Are you
to.
gonna?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna play through it all for the Patreon episode. But I'm intrigued to see what my feelings will be like. 4 years later, maybe less bitter because I know what I'm getting into. But I expected to like it more than I did right now, just because of the years. But it's so uneven a game to me.
Gotcha. As for me, I am still plugging my way through Last of Us as well. I am shocked. I know I mentioned this last week. I am struggling to push through in this game. I feel the first time I played it, I was so drawn by the story. That was pushing me forward just to see what was going to happen next. But now that I already know how the story goes and ends and all that, I'm less motivated. It's not a fun game to play. It's consistently not fun.
It is really not.
I'm baffled by that. What's weird is I'm more excited about the firefights against humans. Like, that works okay. It doesn't play like an Uncharted game, but it drives me crazy, like just crawling as quietly as possible through a herd of clickers. Like, just moving. I just feel like it just drags on. Like, just get me going. Like, I just want to get on. And my favorite moments are when I'm wandering around with Ellie and you're overhearing these conversations, where Ellie is experiencing things in life for the first time. Like, a comic book. She reads her first comic book and it says to be continued. And she's just upset because she can't continue the story because she's never read one of these before. And it's really good.
Right, or one of my favorite moments is when she finds a joke book.
Yes.
And she's like, I know a joke about pizza, but it's too cheesy. But then her and the other kid are like, I don't get it. Because they've never had pizza.
With the other kid?
Henry or whatever. Henry or Sam or whatever.
Oh, man. See, this is how long it's been. I remember the joke book.
You haven't gotten to the other group of survivors yet?
Not in this playthrough, no. I'm still pretty early.
Okay.
I got to where you are, you got the truck and you crashed it, and they crashed it because you got attacked. The guy was like faking that he was injured to try to attack you. And I'm like working my way through the hotel now, I think. I was like a big fancy hotel.
I liked the hotel.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, the hotel is good. See, I always felt like I almost say contrarian when the game came out because I love the story, but I really almost disliked the gameplay.
I would have argued with you at the time because I was so invested, but I just wasn't. Maybe I wasn't realizing. I don't know. I am struggling to and I'm playing on easy, man. I just wanted to experience the story, so I dropped it to easy, and it's just still.
Like, I'm a big stealth guy. Like, I love my Splinter Cell to death.
Mm-hmm.
But every stealth encounter in that game is almost resolved the exact same way. You either walk very slowly to get around a clicker, or you find a convenient pile of bricks and just kind of shuffle all of the bad guys over to an area so you can walk past.
Or you light a bomb, one of the Molotov cocktails.
And it's not fun. There's like every stealth encounter, especially against the clickers, just feels like the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like, no variety. Yeah.
I think because I did play this for the Break the Seal episode. I'd never played it before. I really think the story the first time through, if you don't know what happens, outshines the bad gameplay so much that you really do overlook it. Because when I think of Last of Us, I was like, I really enjoyed that game. So I really do believe that the first time through, like, I agree with you that the first time through, the story overshadows like the game's faults.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel almost bad saying that now. But
I still think the storytelling is impeccable, and the ending is one of, if not my favorite ending to a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all that stuff is still great. It's just when on my first playthrough, what stuck out to me were the puzzles, and how if I ever saw a body of water, I was like, great, where's the pallet?
Mm-hmm.
I got to get Ellie across. Or, you see a ladder that's too high, you're like, great, where do I got to find the box? Like, it's the same. the same puzzle over and over again. That game's long too. It's like 15, 16 hours, and they just use. There are 2 puzzles, and they use them over and over again, and that's what opened my eyes to, the game's false. And then it's a stealth area. Okay? Let me find the pile of bricks so I can get my infinite distraction tool.
Right. I don't want to belabor it too much because I talked about it last week too. But I'm shocked by how much I'm not enjoying it. I was fully expecting just to love going into this game again. I almost wish that I had someone that hadn't played it before sitting next to me watching me play it, so that at least I had something driving me because I want to keep them entertained. You know what I mean?
That sounds fun. Yes.
And I don't have that, unfortunately. But
you should stream it, Scott.
I should have. I probably should. I have the PS camera. It's actually sitting right here at my feet. I don't know why it's not hooked up.
There you go.
I should do that.
I'll watch you covered up in your blanket.
Will you? Even though I'm already a quarter of the way through the game.
No, I watched you stream once or twice.
That's true. Back in Resident Evil 2, I think you were watching.
Yeah, I remember your blanket.
I can't game without a blanket, man. It's chilly down here. I got my Zelda blanket. I got my NES cartridge blanket. I love blankets, man. Plus, my cat isn't with me anymore. That used to sit on my lap, but she loved sitting on my lap when I had a blanket on. So,
you might as well bring one tomorrow because you already know my basement's chilly.
That's true. I will bring a blanket
and a cat.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Zach, any parting words before we get out of here?
Sure. You should listen to my storytelling and morality discussion podcast, Smirk. This latest episode, we had a special guest on, Scott Clark of The Gaming Outsider.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was, forewarn you, that is a very dark topic that we dove into.
Yeah, you're going to see a different side of Scott.
Yeah.
I apologize I did not introduce him correctly, is Scott Clark of the Scott Clark and the Gaming Outsider podcast. I apologize. It's my mistake.
Yeah, that's still
Please forgive me.
Running joke. CB, how about you?
Nothing really new. If you're an adult, watch Ozark. Show's great.
I have 3 episodes left of the season. I don't know what I'm doing. I got distracted with Clone Wars and Rebels.
Ooh.
That's a good thing to get distracted by, but I actually have a video. I recorded CB watching the last minute of the final episode, and it's a great video. I'll show it to you after you finish.
Should I just set up my camera and record myself for the last 5 minutes?
See, the thing was, I was trying really hard to not make it look like I was recording. It's very hard to do. It's hard to record someone's reaction without them knowing, because I wanted it to be like a genuine reaction.
Oh,
if you were filming yourself, I feel like you wouldn't have the same reaction.
I don't know. I knew you were filming.
Yeah,
but that was still that is such a great ending to a season.
Those last 2 episodes are just great for so many reasons.
I've heard from so many people that the season 3 finale is one of their favorite episodes of TV ever.
It's pretty good, and I mean, there's a really great monologue. You know what I'm talking about, CB? That the acting is phenomenal.
I love monologues.
You love them?
Yeah, I love monologue.
It's good.
Off air, I'm going to ask you which actor performed the monologue.
Okay, I can do that. Well, everybody out there, thank you so much for listening to The Gaming Outsider. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.